Hey, it's Kim here. I am so excited. We are getting to the final end of our journey on your home buying process. And I wanted to make sure we've got a few things that we go over before your big closing day. So a couple things in this email, just to make sure we're all on the same page. Okay, number one, you should have received your closing disclosure from your lender that basically breaks down kind of what you're doing with your money on this transaction. I've attached the settlement statement that the title company just sent me. It's easier to kind of go through than the lender document, but at the end of the day, it should have the same number as far as what you are going to need for your closing day. Now, what's really important here is that you know to either have those funds wired to the title company a day or so before closing. And if you do that, you're going to need to call the title company, and I've got their information in this email to get their wire instructions. Or you can bring a cashier's check. So depending on the amount, you're going to have one of those two choices. Number two, you need to make sure that you have your photo ID with you on closing day. The title company will be making a copy for their records. Third, make sure that you have called to schedule your utilities to be in your name on closing day. It's really important that we don't have a disruption from when the seller gets them out of their name to when you've put them in. Otherwise, it's a lot more difficult if they've turned utilities completely off. So make sure you've made the appropriate connections for utilities. If you have any questions on that, of course, reach out to me, and I will give you some guidance on that. Okay, number four is if your new home is in an area that requires an occupancy to be filled out, you may have to go to their office to fill out the document, and there's usually a small fee. So I will let you know if that is part of something that you're going to need to do as we get to closing. Okay, number five, and this is a big one, please make sure that you have low expectations for the cleanliness of your new home at closing. Per our sales contract, it only has to be broom cleaned. And I can tell you with past experience that a lot of times buyers and sellers don't really have the same ideas to what this means. So I would just expect that you're going to want to do some deep cleaning before you take possession of your new home. Okay, number six, a lot of times people ask me, how long does closing take on closing day? Usually about an hour and a half to 2 hours. That is going to be with you signing documents, the seller signing documents, title companies working on the funds in the background, and then of course making copies and giving that out to all parties at the end. So allow about 2 hours for your closing time. Number seven, I always recommend that you have, not right away, it doesn't have to be immediate, but that you've got a locksmith, or if you're handy and you can do it, that you rekey all of your locks. These sellers are supposed to give us any keys that they have for the property, but we really never know who really has a key or if someone had them previous to the seller. So always a good idea to get especially your exterior doors rekeyed, and a garage door pad if you have that reprogrammed as well. Okay, number eight, check to make sure after closing, I would have given about a month or two, if you qualify for any exemptions for your real estate taxes in the county. A lot of times they have certain exemptions that apply, and you don't want to forget about this. You cannot do it right away because you have to give time for everything to get recorded and processed. But give it about a month or two, and you want to make sure that you aren't missing some breaks on taxes. Okay, finally, remember I always like to say it's not finished till the fat lady sings. And in this case, when you're buying a new home, that truly is the case. So even though we're really close, a couple things are going to happen that seem crazy at the very 9th hour, but a couple things. Your lender's probably going to do another job verification. Literally, I've seen this happen on the day of closing, sitting at the closing table. They're calling people's supervisors to make sure you still have the job that you said you had when you filled out your application. So hopefully you still have your job. That's going to be key. Another thing, they're going to be pulling a soft pull credit check, again, right before closing. So it is really important that we aren't doing any last minute shopping for furniture, cars, or anything like that that is going to cause any red flags right at the time that you are getting ready to sign your paperwork. Okay, so wait until everything is officially signed and funded. And once we are closed and you have keys, you can go spend whatever you want to spend. But just remember that they're going to still be watching all of that until we cross that finish line. Okay, so hang in there with me. It's been a journey. I know a lot of balls in the air over the last few weeks, but we're almost to the finish line. All right, let me know if you have any questions. See ya.